Hi everyone, today I am checking these models out here, which I think would be ideal for House of Chaos's own game, Outlands. It's a type of cyberpunk miniature. I'm going to butcher this word, it's Japanese and I'm terrible with this kind of thing. Omoji miniatures, so it's a style of miniatures and it's 3D printed, so it's resin printed. It's fairly good quality, so there's lots of files online of these kind of miniatures that you can print off. And with resin these days, a lot of people are doing it. It's so much better quality than the 3D printing you had previously, because you could get such better definition with resin. You haven't got those horrible lines in it. And it comes out fairly well. You've got to trim off a little bit, which is fantastic. You can see the buckle there, you can see the detail, and for the price you can't really knock it, and that's what Outlands is all about. It's any 5 models you wanted to put on the table, and we always think it's like a sci-fi spaghetti western kind of feel, but I do like cyberpunk elements, and I've had a couple of gangs so far for Outlands in use, especially when we go demoing, when there's not a global pandemic. And they are a sci-fi spaghetti western kind of feel. You've got like the Old West, but like sci-fi guns and things like that. And of course, like I said, you can use any 5 models you want. We've seen Scooby-Doo miniatures at some of our local clubs, things like that. I've seen Minions. John himself from House of Chaos has nuns with guns and some whips, but we're not going to go into that conversation. But I think these miniatures are wicked, and with the new Cyberpunk game out, Cyberpunk is everywhere, and I love the cool and crazy colours. I've always been tempted to pick up like Escher models and things like that, purely just because I want to paint some crazy colours on them. And why not? So I know you only need 5 models, but mistakes happen, right? I'm going to probably lose a couple of guys. Generally the medic, that's just my own amazing luck. Bring the medic up the board, generally get shot. So I did find this one here, which is pretty cool. I thought that looks quite like a medic running around. It's pretty wicked. I'm a big fan of close combat and Outlands as well. So like the swords and things like that. I think they're phenomenal in combat, if you can ever get into combat when there's people shooting at you. But no, I do really like close combat, the mechanic in Outlands, so I'm going to make some funky sci-fi bases for these guys, prime them up, and start painting them. So hopefully you guys will see them soon. We might do some demos on the channel again, when we can actually get to see each other, because obviously me and John don't live in the same household. I know what you might think, we're like a sexier looking Bert and Ernie, but we don't. We're not married, and I haven't actually seen him for quite some time. So it's quite hard to do a demo on your own, or maybe some battle reports on your own. But there you go. But I can paint some miniatures up for Outlands. So if you haven't seen Outlands before, please check out Outlands, and the link is in the description below. It is a wicked game. And I'm not just saying that because I am one of the co-creators. John took me under his wing. But I really do like Outlands. And like I said, we imagine it with a sci-fi spaghetti western feel. But you can literally use any 5 models you want. So it doesn't matter if you have 25mm bases, 28mm bases, 32mm bases, anything like that. It's still done on the volume on the model. So the width of the base, it is all done on line of sight. So if you have a bigger model, yes, you can see your opponent possibly easier, but they can also see you easier. But don't worry about those crazy models that have massive wings or anything standing outside of the base. It's not the what can be seen on every part of the model. It's literally the width of the base and a half for the height. So if you've got 28mm base, it's 28mm on height, and half again. So it's generally, most models are the head to the width of the base, as a general rule of thumb. Just think of it as a cylinder. It's done on base volume. So, like this model here, if the hammer sticks over the edge of the base, you cannot shoot from the tip of the hammer, for example. It's literally measured like that. So it's an excuse to use any 5 models you want. So break out those crazy models you've always wanted painted and you don't have a game for. There's models I've collected over the years that are collecting dust in the attic that I love the models for, but the games have discontinued for whatever reason. Put those crazy models on the table. You know, I have got gorillas with rocket launchers, miniguns, things like that. Why not? So you can use any miniature like that in our game. And the idea of the game is you need to get more spice or credits than your opponent, and it's just bragging rights. It's basically who's going to survive, because it's an ongoing game with RPG elements and it's a skirmish based system. But it sounds much like any other game, right? Until you realise each time you fail an activation dice, you potentially give that dice to your opponent and they can react to your actions. So it's not my turn, their turn, it's rounds, and it may be my round and I am the active player, but if I mess up some of my dice rolls, I'm giving those dice even, to my opponent, and then they get to react to me. So I might move up the table and then they get to shoot me, or I might move up and I'm going to take a shot at somebody and then move out of the way. So both players are always in play, and it's just a bit of fun. And if you like me and you like leveling up models and characters, that's where the RPG element comes into it. It's a bit like Dungeons and Dragons. Your skills improve and you can buy gear and you can buy abilities outside of the game. So it is a quick game. Each game's about an hour long and it's just a casual game, and it's a very low price game, because most of us have terrain and most of us have at least 5 miniatures. So please check us out. That's Outlands, the game. And like I said, I put a link in the description on this video. Right, thank you very much for watching, guys. Please hit that like button, and if you haven't done already, please subscribe. Okay, take care everyone, and hobby safe.